Here at Towson University, we are committed to making our campus a safe, inclusive, welcoming place for everyone. No matter who you are, what you believe, when you were born, where you come from, or how you identify, you belong here. Now, more than ever, TU is dedicated to maintaining a campus community free of judgment, fear, and prejudice, and to strengthening our continued efforts to fight hate and bigotry. With the rapidly evolving COVID-19 pandemic and its impact around the world, we encourage all members of the TU community to seek accurate and credible information and to reflect on how our responses and conversations often involve conscious or unconscious stereotypes and assumptions around race, ethnicity, culture, and nationality, among others, which can lead to bias incidents. It is also important to understand how microaggressions can impact members of our community, as well as how each of us can take an active role in responding to them, along with the key resources available at TU. Keep in mind that there is a difference between freedom of expression and freedom of consequences. Although one is protected in the U.S. by the Constitution, the other is not. It's important to remember that TU supports all members of our community. On one hand, TU values freedom of expression and open exchange of ideas. On the other, TU does not protect harassment or expressions of bias that violate university policies. We will continue to investigate reported incidents accordingly. Despite TU temporarily transitioning classes to virtual and online spaces, bias incidents can still occur. Recently, at the University of New Mexico, a first-year student returned to their room on campus to find that someone covered their door in plastic and posted a sign on the plastic that said, "Caution, keep out, quarantine." The student, feeling targeted and unsafe, filed a police report and then moved out. The university has yet to identify who was responsible. A recent campaign in Canada tries to stress the importance of avoiding bigotry and racism, intentional or unintentional, as we all work to stay safe and healthy.
It's so painful to see the level of stigma we're observing. Of course, we're human beings, we're not angels. We make mistakes. But at the same time, we can make rational decisions too, and we can have the right attitude and behavior. The stigma is more dangerous than the virus itself.
COVID-19 has led many people who have always held discriminatory attitudes and racist attitudes towards Chinese to act out those attitudes in a public, in an emboldened way. We collectively, as Torontonians, as Ontarians and Canadians, we need to stop the spread, confront this, and address it.
The CDC stresses that people of Asian descent, including Chinese Americans, are not more likely to get COVID-19 than any other American. Help stop fear by letting people know that being of Asian descent does not increase the chance of getting or spreading COVID-19. There are countless reports from communities around the world where some responses to COVID-19 have involved bigotry and discrimination. The visual of the surgical mask has become a frequent image being used both to reinforce and educate against racial and ethnic stereotypes. There is a complicated history of public health threats adversely affecting communities of color. A recent tweet by Christopher Chan, at Chanthropology, says, "Fellow Asians on trains, buses, and sidewalks during COVID-19, have you noticed that your mere presence is interpreted as a security threat by the people around you? Let's take a moment to empathize with Black, Arab, Muslim, Native, and Latinx people for whom this is everyday life." Recent acts of discrimination related to COVID-19 are not a new phenomenon. In fact, the key thing is that when we already have negative representations of certain groups, when we already think of certain people as dangerous or unworthy or outsiders, then it's much more likely that we'll see them as disease carriers or health burdens. This is what I mean when I say that our views about race frame the way we perceive public health threats. We have seen this movie before. Minority groups and persecuted or marginalized populations have faced the fear and ire of majority groups throughout history during disease outbreaks. According to the Science Museum Brought to Life website, Jews were widely blamed for the Black Death, and immigrant Irish workers were held responsible for cholera epidemics in the 1830s. In the early 1900s, African Americans were unethically studied in the infamous Tuskegee experiments because of unfounded hypotheses that Black people were inherently inferior. Syphilis was rampant in poor Black communities, so it was assumed to be a Black disease. Many Black men were intentionally infected with the disease and left untreated during those horrific experiments. Although often described colloquially as death by 1,000 cuts, microaggressions are defined as brief and commonplace verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or other negative slights and insults towards an individual or group's actual or perceived membership in any group. One of the ways to understand how often microaggressions happen to minoritized populations is by showing how they would look if they regularly happened to a majority group, such as white people.
So you're not good at golf, but you're white. People of color have to deal with racial microaggressions every single day. So microaggressions are those little unintentional insults that basically see people of color as stereotypes, which got me thinking, what if white people had to deal with racial microaggressions?
So where are you from?
No, like, where are you really from?
Why don't you have an accent? Like a Swedish accent.
You know, your English is really, really good. It's like I can't even tell you have an accent or anything.
I don't have an accent.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You don't speak Gaelic?
You don't speak German?
Can you say a curse word in European?
You know, like, what does that even mean?
Hey Connor, you know about NASCAR stuff, right? Can you take a look at this?
Can you teach me how to line dance?
Play the banjo?
Act entitled in the supermarket.
I love white food. No real flavor to it. Never an upset tummy.
You're so exotic.
How do you get your hair like that? I love how it's so limp. Ew, why does it feel like that? Oh my God, so it just does that? No, you are really pretty for a white girl.
Your eyes are so round, like this.
You know who you look like? Kenny Chesney. Zach Braff.
Emma Stone.
Rachel Maddow.
My friend Chad. Maybe you know him, because he's white too.
No, Emma Watson.
Not Macklemore. What's the other guy?
No, is it Emma Thompson?
It's C-H-A-D, like Chad.
One of the Emmas. You look like an Emma.
You know who you look like? I bet you hear this all the time. Jeffrey Dahmer. How does it feel to be the token white guy in the office? Hey, Connor, can we get a white perspective on this? I love everything about white culture. You guys are like so fun. What do you mean you don't listen to Creed? You're white.
You've never tried meth.
But you're white.
You don't act like a normal white person.
You're not really white, though.
Not really white. I'm whiter than you are.
So, did all your ancestors own slaves?
No, but of course he wishes that he could still own slaves. That's a part of his culture.
Bryce, back me up on this one. The thing you have to understand about white culture
No, I
is
went
that
to
white
an
people are...
historically white college, so
okay,
I know about
but I
white culture.
backpacked
Okay,
in
was
Europe. So can you say how ridiculous this was? I know. Story of my life. If you've ever experienced microaggressions because of your race, gender, sexuality, or body type, go ahead and vent about it in the comments.
Can you teach me how to, take a really popular rap song and, make it a ukulele song? It's so cool. I think it's so cool how you guys do that.
There are different types of microaggressions. Microassaults refer to conscious and deliberate discriminatory acts. Microinsults refer to subtle communications that come across as rude and insensitive. Microinvalidations refer to communications that exclude, negate, or nullify a marginalized person's feelings, identities, or experiences. TU encourages every member of the community to take an active role in responding to microaggressions and other acts of bigotry. Whenever possible, it's important to act rather than avoid. One way to respond to microaggressions is with what are called microaffirmations. Microaffirmations refer to supporting someone by listening actively to them, by inviting others to share their views, and by always trying to validate and affirm someone's experiences and feelings. Showing genuine concern and interest in someone else will help maintain a caring TU community. Micro-resistance refers to the act of calling in and interpreting behavior in active ways. TU encourages you to take an OTFD approach to micro-resistance, which you can remember with the phrase, "open the front door." Observe what you see by describing the instance clearly and succinctly, stating what you think about what you've observed, expressing your feelings about the situation, and asserting what you desire to happen by communicating this to those involved. The goal of micro-resistance is not to be perfect, but to be authentic, committed, and gentle with your progress as such situations arise. Another way to understand the cumulative impact of individual acts of microaggression are to think of them as mosquito bites. While a single mosquito bite might cause minor and temporary discomfort, a series of ongoing mosquito bites happening randomly and repeatedly can be downright painful and have long-lasting impact.
For people who still don't think that microaggressions are a problem,
Oh, you're so well-spoken.
just imagine, instead of being a stupid comment, a microaggression is a mosquito bite.
Ugh, it's a compliment.
Mosquito bites and their itch are one of nature's most annoying features. But if you're only bitten every once in a while,
No, where are you really from?
Cleveland?
sure, it's annoying, but it's not that big a deal. The problem is that some people get bitten by mosquitoes a lot more than other people. I mean, a lot more. Whether it's on a date,
Oh, your English is so good.
Excuse me?
going grocery shopping,
You know, everything happens for a reason.
I'm just buying apples.
commuting to work,
So when are you gonna have a baby?
watching TV,
We have to keep the Redskins' name. It's part of our culture and history.
or just walking down the street with your partner.
I couldn't even tell you were gay.
Mosquitoes seem to pop up everywhere.
Do you know John? Give me shopping advice. I love Cher too.
And getting bit by mosquitoes every day,
Can I touch your hair?
multiple times a day,
So pretty. Can I
Can I
touch
touch
your
it,
hair?
please? Can I please?
is annoying. And makes you want to go ballistic on those mosquitoes, which seems like a huge overreaction to people who only get bit every once in a while.
It's just a mosquito bite. Who cares?
Just another angry black woman.
Of course, beyond just being annoying, some mosquitoes carry truly threatening diseases that can mess up your life for years.
Astrophysics? Maybe you should try less challenging, Major.
Ow, my dreams.
And other mosquitoes carry strains that can even kill you.
He looked like he was up to trouble, okay? I felt threatened.
So next time you think someone's overreacting, just remember, some people experience mosquito bites all the time.
You're all so exotic. Wow.
And by mosquito bites, we mean microaggressions.
TU defines bias incidents as verbal, written, or physical behaviors, which are not criminal offenses, but target, consciously or unconsciously, a person because of their actual or perceived identity or group membership. While the expression of an idea or point of view may be hateful, offensive, or inflammatory, it may not be an actionable bias-related incident. It's important to remember that bias incidents can happen regardless of whether the behavior was intentionally targeting someone or not. Keep in mind that impact takes precedent over intent when considering whether an incident is actionable. There are many different ways to report possible bias incidents. You can submit a report online or through the mail. You can call or send an email to the Office of Inclusion and Institutional Equity, or stop by the office located in the administration building. TU encourages you to stay healthy, stay informed, be flexible, and compassionate as COVID-19 continues to impact us. Please do your part to be an active member of the TU community.